Right. Welcome back. Introduction to PHP. In the previous 2 units, we have seen different technologies like HTML, XML, JavaScript, all this, and cascading styles, which are used for different purposes. So till now, we have been dealing only with front-end technologies. Front-end technologies means what? What do you mean by front-end technologies? So when you say front-end technologies, all the technologies that are used for creating front-end user interface, that is, which will interact with the client directly, right? In a client server application model, you will have a server, right? And you will have a client. Multiple clients will be there. These clients will be simultaneously accessing this server. So till now, whatever technologies we have learned, we are dealing only directly with the client machine. That means what? All the programs that you write using these technologies are executed on the client machine in the browser. But now onwards, the technologies that we are going to learn, like PHP, and in the next unit you're going to learn servlets, then after that JSP, Java Server. So these three technologies, they're not going to be executed on the client machine. Instead, they will be executed on the server, right? So what do you mean by front-end technologies? Those that execute on client machine. There is nothing. Client machine is nothing but the browser. So those technologies which are used for creating programs that run on client machine or browser window are called as front-end technologies. And then coming to the back-end technologies, now we are going to start learning back-end technologies. So those that execute on server machine. And when you say server machine, just like on client machine, you have a browser software which will execute all these programs and you will not have a single software using which you can run all the backend technology. So different technology will have different software. Say mention exclusive software because it is exclusive for every technology. Those that execute on server machine. Sharma sir, Sharma sir. Those that execute on server machine, they'll use a separate exclusive software for each technology. For example, for PHP, you will have a different technology. For let's you have ASP together, you have a single technology. There are many alternatives for both serverless and VS. Let me mention them. For PHP, you can use either software called XAMPP, or there is another one called LAMP also. So any of them can be used. I'll tell you what are these XAMPP, LAMP, and LAMP. For servlet, the most popular one is Tomcat Web Server. Right? Even this XAMPP and all, these are also containing some web server, but they'll have a complete package along with web server. They'll provide API for MySQL, PHP, and Perl programming language. Whereas this Tomcat web server will provide only API for Java servlets and Java server pages. That's it. The API for Java servlets and JS. Coming to this one, this will provide additionally, along with the web server, it will include API for Perl and PHP programming as well as MySQL database. That is not the case with servlets. But anyhow, once you install this XAMPP or WAMP or LAMP, any of these things, then the MySQL provided by this XAMPP or WAMP or LAMP can also be used along with the servlets and JSP applications. Okay, so till now you didn't require to install any additional softwares on your computer to execute any of these programs that you have written using various technologies that we learn under front end technologies. So you must understand that front end is nothing but the browser content which is directly visible to the user. Back end is nothing but the server, which includes programs written in any server-side scripting languages, as well as web server. Web server is the one who is going to take the request, incoming request from the client, and provide some service to that request and generate some response with the help of the API and software installed on the server. Then give back that response generated by from either extracting data from the database, generating some HTML, any other content, transfer it back to the front. So this is the role of the backend. So the backend includes the server along with the database and the programming technology, that is the server side language technologies and their corresponding software. So that together will form a backend. So for any web application, there will be front end and back end. Sometimes in some application scenarios, you will have some middleware. Between front end and back end, you will have some other software entities also, which we call them as middleware. But we are not going to discuss about middleware technologies here in this subject because they are not part of a syllabus. So we are not concerned about that one. But sometime later, if you find a term somewhere called middleware, so that middleware is nothing but which will be an intermediate software which will be used between front end and back end. But even though it is called as a middleware, it doesn't mean that that middleware is separately hosted somewhere on a different physical entity, but it will be available on the back end only. Right? Fine. Uh, Now let us confine our discussion related to PHP only. Let us not discuss about servlets at all. Let us confine our discussion only related to PHP. Right? Coming to this PHP, you need to install. I request you all to install XAMPP. Right? I'll tell you first before XAMPP. I'll tell you what is AMPP is common in all the softwares. AMPP is there here in this one, and here also it is there, and here also it is there. The abbreviation for AMPP is same. The X is changing here. Instead of X, you have W and L here, right? So A stands for Apache Web Server, stands for Web Server, and M stands for MySQL or Maria Database DB. One P stands for Perl programming. The other P stands for PHP. Who is this Chandrasekhar? Fine. So now that you know, this is a software package which includes a web server, right? To run any web application which uses client server architecture, a web server is required. Without the web server, even though you have a physically a server computer installed with any database and uh, programming technology software, your server will not work. It will not be able to receive the requests coming from the client machine, and it will not be able to send back the response to the client. Right? So for that purpose, what we require is a web server. So web server is one which is going to receive all the requests from coming from various client machines through your internet, and then generate the response with the help of this technologies, the technologies. And once they generate the response, they'll give back the response to the web server. Then web server will send that response to the client's browser machine, browser server. So that is the responsibility of the web server. So to run any web application, if there is no web server, then uh, even though you have the other entities, it is null. It is nothing. Right? So it is very, very important to have a web server, whether it is PHP or whether it is Python, whether it is Java based. For everything, you require a web server. Even for servlets and JSP also, the web server used is Tomcat. Okay. So for PHP, we are going to use this web server called Apache. And to create a database and interact with the database, we'll be using MySQL database. Then, along with MySQL, this AMPP provides with Perl programming API. API in the sense, just like when you want to use some predefined functions and classes in Python programming, Java programming, you will be importing some packages, right? Predefined package like IO package, applet package, PWT package, util package, lang package. All these are part of your Java's library. That is provided to you by the JDK software that you install on your computer. Right? Similarly, for Python programming, the API is provided by the software that you install for Python. So API means what? It is a collection of all tools like built-in classes, methods, everything, packages and all. Right? So similarly, for PHP also there will be an API. For any programming language, there will be an API. So only when you install the corresponding software, then only you will be able to write or develop those programs in that language, run them. Otherwise, you will not be able to write and run them. So, for developing Perl programming language, the API is also provided within the software package only. For developing PHP and running the PHP programs also, the so API is provided within this AMPP. So this AMPP is nothing but a complete software package. It includes multiple software. One is web server, the second one is the database technology like MySQL, and two server-side scripting languages like Perl and PHP. One P stands for Perl, the other P stands for PHP. So these together are embedded into a single software package, and that is nothing but AMPP. And coming to this WAMPP is exclusively for Windows operating system. That means this if you want to use your web server and all these APIs only on Windows machine, but not on other machine, then you can go for WAMPP, where W stands for Windows and L stands for Linux. It is meant for Linux operating system. And when you use this XAMPP, X stands for cross-platform. What does X stands for? Cross-platform. That means this RAM can be used on Windows or on Linux or even on Mac operating system. Apple's Mac operating system. Right? So X means what? Cross-platform. Cross-platform means it can be used on Windows operating system, it can be used on Linux operating system, or it can be used on any other operating system. So that is the reason we call this as cross-platform. Cross-platform, to specify cross-platform, we use the letter X. Hence, the complete term will be XAMPP, right? So I request all of you to install this XAMPP on your computer. But when you are installing this XAMPP, you need to follow some uh, strict rules. See that already MySQL is not installed on your computer. If it is installed, please remove it and completely remove all the environment variables there, or remove all those MySQL environment variables and disable that, delete that service in Windows logs, right? And then install this XAMPP. And when you are installing this XAMPP, it will ask you to enter a port number and some username and password also. Username and password is not necessary, but try to use for MySQL. If you want, you can use a username. The default MySQL user account will be your root user account. For that, if you want to give a password, you mention that password during the installation. If you don't want to use any password, leave it blank. Don't use any password. Don't create any password for the root user account, right? Then when you are installing this XAMPP along with that MySQL user account root along with its password, it will also ask you to select the port number. By default, the port number will be 80. Port number will be 80. So we'll take that 80 port number. But if that port number is already being used by some other software that is already installed on your computer, then this there will be a conflict with your XAMPP port number. So your XAMPP will not run, even though it gets installed on your computer. It will not be able to run it properly, right? So please check that all these are done before you start installing this XAMPP. If you are having any troubles, one day I'll show you. But if I uninstall XAMPP on my computer, again it will be difficult for me to tackle with that installation later because I have installed many softwares on my computer. And there may be a conflict with the port numbers. If I have to address that, it will take some time. So unless I don't want to take any risk. But one of you can host that on one of your computer. You can start installing and demonstrate it. Or you can Google or in YouTube also to search and get the steps for installation. And any issues also you can solve it. If it is in college in offline mode, I would have shown you on one of the computers on the lab, in the laboratory with the help of a projector so that you will not having any trouble. And even in the lab also, if the software is not installed, I will make you to install that software. And if you have any issues installing it on your laptop, you can contact me offline. It is offline mode of delivery of lecture, right? But unfortunately, we are not having that scope here, so we need to go with the online mode. So you have to take care of your installation. I cannot be of much help to you in these issues that you are going to face while installing this XAMPP. Okay, so I've installed XAMPP on my computer. So when I install XAMPP on my computer, I'll get a control panel for XAMPP. So look at this at the bottom in the taskbar. You're able to see this logo, right? So this is called as a control panel. So this will come as a shortcut on your desktop if you choose it while installing this XAMPP. Otherwise, it will be available in the folder or C drive. So in your C drive, the XAMPP will be if it is installed, then you will get a folder called XAMPP, right? And you can open this XAMPP, then you'll find XAMPP control configuration. This one application is right file type. This one, if you double click on this, this control panel will start, right? So this control panel, additionally along with MySQL, it will also provide you with Tomcat also, but install Tomcat, right? Don't use Tomcat. Install Tomcat when you are installing XAMPP. And if you install also, try to use that only later for servlets and JS. But for avoiding some problems in future when you are learning servlets and JS, I request you all to disable this Tomcat. Only use Apache, MySQL, and these are FTP softwares. FileZilla and all these things are FTP software. If you are hosting a website or web application on a URL, then in that case you can use this FileZilla, Vector, and all these things. So we'll be using only this Apache, MySQL here. Not going to use this Tomcat or anything. Fine. So first you need to look at the start button beside this Apache web server. Right? So you'll have a start button. When you click on the start button, then you will get stop button, and it will also display you the process IDs on operating system for this web server, as well as the port numbers that it is going to use. These are the port numbers it is going to use: 80 and 44. Right? Then if you want to use MySQL also, then start MySQL also. So once you start, they will appear in green color background for this Apache and MySQL. Again, after using it, you can stop them. So Now that I have started, if I open the browser window and type localhost, I simply type localhost on my computer in the browser's window, then I must get this page. XAMPP is XAMPP is successfully installed without any issue, then you will get this. Right? Apache plus MariaDB plus PHP plus 12. So if you click on this PHP MyAdmin on the top right corner, this will be open, and this is your interface for creating your database for your application and creating tables here. And for creating tables and databases, you need not write SQL statements like you do normally with MySQL, which is installed on your computer. Right? So this is completely graphical user interface concept. So click on databases. If you want to create a database, just give the name of the database. Say maybe okay. Click on create. And on the on the left side, you are able to see the newly created database. And if I click on this database, it is not having any tables created yet. So if you want to create a table, here itself, when you just click on that database, in whichever database you want to create tables, you can click on that database, then it will show you the option, the tab structure will be new, and in that create table option will be there. If you want to create a table, for example, you want to create a user table with 4 columns. If you want to change it, you can change it to 5 or in the case of 3, 2 like that. So I'm going to use 4, and click on go. So now it will ask me to enter the names of the fields in the table. The table will be created with its name as users, and the field names you can give it here. Say, for example, I'm going to give ID as first field, name as a second field, email as a third field, password as the fourth field. If you want to make this ID as a numerical value, mention its data type as int, and name can be varchar, so you know what is varchar in DBA. Right? Email can also be varchar, and password also varchar. And what is the maximum length you want to allow for this ID? Say I'm going to give 10 here. For name I'll give 100. For email I'll give 100. Password I'll just give 20. Right? So the remaining things you can leave them as default collation attributes. And if you want to make this allow this value to be null, you can choose this checkbox to allow this value to be null. Otherwise, by default, all the values will not accept null values. And index indicates what type of key you want to make this field as, whether you want to make it as a primary key or whether you want to make it as a unique field or index field, full text, spatial, like that you can make. So ID is primary key, say for example, because it is going to be unique, and I want to make it as a primary key. Then I choose primary and click on OK. And if you want to use auto increment option for that, you select this auto increment. After doing all these things, at the bottom, you get save button. So click on save. Now, under CSC, a new table is created with name users. Look at the structure of the table. It has 4 fields: ID, name, email, and password. And this ID is made as a primary key, so we are able to see that icon, primary key icon beside that field name. And its data type is integer. Maximum allowed size for this one is 10. Name is varchar, email is varchar, password is varchar, and we have given the respective lengths for them. And if you want to make any changes to this field, you can click on this change option and edit that field with a new values and click on save. I'm directly going to click on save because I'm not going to make any changes. This is how you can create a table. So once you are done with in creating table fields and table, on the insert values, click on insert and insert the corresponding values for all the fields. Say for ID, I'm going to give 1. For name, I'm going to say for email, say dot. And for passport, say 5, 6 something. On go, then this record will be inserted into the table. So it will show you one row inserted with a green tick mark, which indicates that the row is inserted, and its corresponding SQL statement will be appearing below that tick mark. So insert into user's table name. What are the fields in which we have inserted? ID, name, email, and password. And what are the values? One, name is Tarakeshwar Rao, and email ID is tarakeshwar@ac.in, password is 1234556. So if you click on this browse tab here, then you will able to see the you will be able to see that record in the table. Right? ID is 1, the name is Tarakeshwar Rao, email is tarakeshwar@ac.in, okay, password is 1234556. Right? So if you want to edit, you can edit it. If you want to delete, you can delete it. Right? Now, if I insert one more record, what will happen? The ID will be automatically, even if I don't insert any ID, it will be automatically incremented to 2. Okay. So this is how you can create a table. And now we need to write a program. We need to write a program to run PHP programs and insert values into the database. If this environment is completely set up, then we can start writing PHP programs. So where to write and how to write PHP program and where to save the programs. So that I'll tell you now. So that in the next class you can start directly writing the programs. So in your exam folder in C drive on your computer, so I'm going to this PC and my C drive. I have exam folder. Right? So if you not to install exam software, I'll get this folder. So open this exam folder and you will find a folder called htdocs. htdocs. So just open this htdocs. For every application you want to create, you create a separate folder for that application. And in that folder, you can store all your HTML or PHP files and all, then run them. Say, for example, there is a folder called week 4, right? And this contains these files. Calc is a PHP file, process is a PHP file, login is a HTML file, and users is XML file. Right? If you want to create all your an application which contains multiple HTML or PHP pages, then you have to create a folder in this htdocs folder. And in that folder, you need to save all those files, all the PHP files and HTML. Now let me open this file in the browser. So how to open this in the browser? How to open this file is type localhost hash. And what is the folder name you created here? Week 4, right? Just type week hash. And if you have login page, then you just create that login.html. This page gets open. Now, if you give say, click on login, this program must work. Otherwise, it not because the database is not created. Okay, so this is how you need to run your PHP program. So I'll open another one which is working. Instead of this week 4, I'll go to say something. The folder name is reglogin. I'll use here. I'll use reg. And simply click on this I simply open this. Automatically, the home page gets opened. I will not type the home page name. The home page is index.php. So if your uh, folder has an index.html file or index.php file, that file will be automatically opened when you install a web server on your computer and type the URL like this. Even though you don't type the index.php file name here, I'm not typing that, right? Don't type that file name, automatically that page gets open. And now you can log in from here. Once you log in, you get this home page, right? With my name, hello Tarakeshwar, sign out button, right? If I click on sign out, and I'll get back to this login. If you want to sign up, click on sign up here, then it will ask you to enter username, email ID, and password. Click on sign in, then it will create a user account. So this is how you need to run your PHP program. So in the next class, we are going to see how to write PHP program, right? So I request all of you to text your roll numbers and then leave.